Hello there. Please excuse me for the interruption of my consciousness. There was a delayed and extended symptom after my recent trip. You guessed it right, motion sickness. Something that a lot of people experience that causes them to feel dizzy or even throw up after long rides on cars, boats, planes, or even any vehicle. But have you ever wondered how that happens? Phosphorus, radium, sodium, vanadium. PRaNaV Nr on your screen, and today, let's talk motion sickness. As you can see right now, there's a little background change. That's because I'm in India right now, specifically in my mother's hometown in South India called Neyveli. But the funny thing is that my flight from Singapore actually landed in Chennai. So how did I end up here? That's because I took some car rides. Two car rides. One ride was from Chennai to a temple city called Tiruvannamalai to meet my great-grandparents. And the second ride was from there to Neyveli, where I'm filming it right now. Each ride was a minimum of 3 hours, which is quite a long time. I remember the last time I took such long rides, I used to throw up because of motion sickness. But this time, I learned some tricks to prevent it. Stick around to the end of the video as I'll be sharing them with you so that you can prevent motion sickness on your next car, cruise, plane, whatever ride. Now, of course, this isn't a PRaNaV Nr video if it doesn't have any scientific educational content, right? And that's why in this video, we'll be covering the macroscopic and biological reasons for motion sickness and some tips and tricks about how to prevent it. So firstly, motion sickness is the unease or the sickness that people face while traveling. Some common symptoms include dizziness and in most cases, nausea. Then what happens in your body during motion sickness? We first have to understand the basis of posture. Posture is defined as the bearing or the position of the body, whether characteristic or assumed for a special purpose. Now there are two components to posture, namely balance and orientation. For our daily tasks to be carried out, our posture has to be constantly adjusted. Somatosensory, vestibular, and visual information, or information from your skin, inner ear, and eyes, are used to provide a clear perception, including the position and velocity of your body. And this is what adjusts the balance and orientation of your body. This also helps you move. Now, the concept of posture is extensively discussed in Part 6, Chapter 41 of Principles of Neuroscience. Please go check it out. But to explain the concept of motion sickness, I'll use the analogy of making soup. There are many different types of soup, many different ways to make those types of soup, and many ways to consume the soup. Maybe not the last one. But in order for 3 chefs to prepare palatable soup, they need to come to a consensus on what soup to make and the instructions to make the soup. In other words, they need to agree with each other and output the same information through their actions, making the soup. If the 3 chefs don't agree, then the soup's going to be messed up and it's going to taste weird. Similarly, for adjustment of your posture to occur, the 3 types of input information, somatosensory, vestibular, and visual information, have to agree on the same thing and output similar information. If that doesn't happen, you're going to feel weird in the stomach, similar to how you would feel after consuming the soup made by those uncoordinated chefs. Think about this. You're in the cabin of the car facing the window on the side. Your visual information says, "Whoa, we're moving sideways." But your somatosensory information, due to inertia and vestibular information, say, No, we're moving forward, not sideways. You can clearly see the disagreement. And this is what makes you feel dizzy and nauseous. Another very simple to understand instance of motion sickness would be virtual reality. Your visual information says that you're moving, while your somatosensory and vestibular information say that you're not moving. This disagreement also causes motion sickness. And this is in fact a very big hurdle that a lot of VR companies like Meta face. Oh, and a quick side note, if you think this video isn't thorough enough, you want to learn more about motion sickness, then go check the article which is in the description below. And then there's the dizziness and the nausea part. The most common symptoms of motion sickness would be the nauseated feelings and vomit itself. But how does that happen? So the conflicting information from these three inputs are actually transmitted to the hypothalamus. Now, if you do not know what the hypothalamus is, it's actually the control center for all the neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, of which one of them is histamine. Now, in the hypothalamus, the conflicting information triggers the release of histamine. When histamine is released, it travels to the brainstem and lands on a specific receptor called the histamine 1 receptor, or H1 for short. These H1 receptors control the emetic or vomiting response. Now, vomiting is a very detestable but intricate process. It would take a whole other video to explain the entire process to you. But all you need to know for the sake of this video is that histamine mediates this nausea through the 10th cranial nerve, the vagus nerve. And that is how motion sickness is caused. Now, there's no point explaining what motion sickness is without telling you how to prevent it. There are medications like Dramamine, which make your car rides less dramatic, because they are histamine antagonists, meaning that they inhibit histamine, therefore reducing the nausea. Although you can do that, my recommendation would be to follow these following 3 tips. Firstly, try as much as possible to sit at the front of the car facing the direction of the vehicle's motion. This means that your visual, vestibular, and somatosensory information would be the same. But if you're not able to do that because of some reason, for example, you're sitting at the back of the car, or you're getting kidnapped in the trunk of the car, then just close your eyes. This shuts off your visual system so that only your vestibular and somatosensory systems will provide information. Secondly, eschew looking at your phone or your devices or anything else when you're traveling. This means that all 3 information inputs will focus on the same thing, hence providing agreeing information. Lastly, if possible, try to get some fresh air during your travel, whether it's the air conditioning or the outside air, preferably the latter. The way this works is slightly roundabout. During motion sickness, you undergo vasodilation, meaning that your vessels dilate. What this means is that your blood vessels, specifically your capillaries, will become broader, allowing more blood to flow towards multiple tissues of the body, and this in turn reduces your core body temperature. But your sneaky little hypothalamus instantly tries to counteract that by releasing histamine, increasing the body temperature. Hence, getting some cool air would reduce the amount of histamine that's released. A bonus trick that doesn't have to do with disagreeing information is to refrain from eating or drinking too much before your travel. This is quite straightforward, as it will increase your chances of vomiting. It kind of works the same way as doing gymnastics after a heavy meal. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. To check out my videos about the visual and the vestibular or auditory system, click the link in the description below. Stay safe, be happy, and have a safe motor travel. Hope I don't vomit on my way back to Chennai.